Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Fast and Curious podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Grant.
And today we're going to be talking about the Titanic. I know most of you guys know, the general story of the Titanic. We're just going to run through some main details and then get into some kind of fun facts.
Yeah, the juicy stuff.
The juicy stuff. This was a very tragic incident. Many people died. So what is the Titanic? It's basically, it was an Olympic ocean liner, like the best ocean liner out there of its time, 883 feet long.
Yeah, so almost 9 football fields.
Yes. And, the cruise ships these days, they just
the Titanic was big for its time, but if you compare the Titanic to a cruise ship, it makes it look like a toy. Like, it's not big for our time, but it was big for them.
Yeah. So it was built in Belfast, United Kingdom, by Harland and Wolff. You want to talk about the first voyage?
Yeah. So it was first launched on May 31st, 1911. It was going from Southampton to New York City. So it had around 2,200 people on it, but the exact numbers are kind of iffy because of also lots of records were lost and misspelling, stuff like that. And so now we can talk about why it sank, how it sank.
Yeah. So basically, it hit an iceberg. It hit an iceberg going through, would you say it was 5?
So one of the misconceptions for why they thought it was unsinkable was because it used a new compartment system. And so what happened was if only 4 compartments were punctured, it could still float. 4 out of 16.
4 out of 16. Oh.
And what happened was the iceberg punctured not 3, not 4, but 5. 5. The one over its limit, and that was enough to send it to the bottom of the ocean.
Well, so it was it ran into the iceberg in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It was freezing cold. Temperatures of the water, I think, were about.
That's what killed. I was like 30.
That's what killed most of the people.
Was just being in that cold water.
Yes. So the lifeboat situation, they didn't fill the lifeboats completely. They took the women and the children first, with a lot of space in all the.
Yeah,
lifeboats.
they had lifeboats so the lifeboats capacity were around 65 to 68 people. And they had lifeboats that were like going into the water with only like 20 to 30 people on them.
Yeah, it had about half of the main capacity.
And they only had around 20 lifeboats because the captain felt that if he put the correct number of lifeboats for the amount of people that were on the ship, it would give off the wrong impression and make the ship look unsafe. Because they think, oh, why would we need all these lifeboats? And I thought it was like the unsinkable ship. Yeah, lots of like ignorance.
Yeah, a lot of ignorance. So let's see. Let's jump into some fun facts because we've gotten through the details that a lot of people know about.
Yeah. So one of the things that a lot of people talk about with the Titanic is the band. So the band was not treated very well at all. Yeah. Like they were treated very harshly. But despite this, when everything was going down, instead of trying to get themselves on a lifeboat or anything like that, the band decided to sit on the deck and play music to try and calm the passengers during the whole thing, and sadly everyone in the band lost their lives. Another weird one is the Titanic had 4 smokestacks. Only 3 of them actually worked. The 4th one was literally just there to make it look more impressive. It was only there for whatever reason, just to show off.
Yeah, so if you guys know Hershey, the chocolate company, the owner or the person who created that, Milton S. Hershey, he was actually supposed to be one of the people on the boat. He was supposed to be one of the, what's the word I'm looking for? One of the passengers on the boat, but he ended up not actually going onto the boat. So that's pretty, pretty cool.
And also there's lots of. One of the things that really strikes me odd is the Titanic had, I think, either 2 to 3 sister ships, and every single one of them sank.
Yeah. Every single one.
The Olympic, I think the Lusitania, and one other one. All of them sank.
Yeah, the Lusitania got sunk by a U-boat.
Yeah. So one of the things that made it really hard to spot, because they knew they were in an iceberg. They had warnings that the icebergs were in the area, and one of the things that made it hard was, one, the spotters didn't have binoculars. They had lost them. They literally lost them. They couldn't find them. And then it was an unusually calm night, so there was nothing like breaking the water. The water was just completely still, so they couldn't even see it coming. And it breaches the hole and everything, and they could see a ship on the if they looked out into the sea, they saw the lights of another ship right near them, but they couldn't get the ship's attention in time, and it passed them by.
Can you imagine being on that other boat and you look to like your left or your right and you just see a boat like nose diving into the ocean?
Yeah, so that's another thing. So the reason it broke in half was just because of the weight.
The weight, yeah.
Yeah, it's certain so it starts to this nose dive to go straight down into the water, and the back half just snapped off.
But like you're like sitting there, having a cup of tea, and you look out the front, and you're like, oh shoot, there's a boat literally.
Yeah, you just see something vertical in the water. But one of the things is it took almost like 3 hours to sink, but for most of that 3 hours, it was just slowly just kind of sinking. It was slow, nothing really was really happening, and it was like the final 10 minutes was when it went vertical, broke off, and then it just like 2 or 3 minutes and both were underwater.
Yeah, the movie, that scene where it breaks off, that's like, I think it's the best part of the movie.
It's intense.
Like I'm in between the part where it actually hits the iceberg and that part right there as like the best scenes in the movie. The thing breaks off. Did you see how many people were under the boat?
Yeah.
When it broke off, like I'm like, oh.
But and then now they're making a Titanic 2.
Oh.
It's the exact replica of it. I think it's just trying to just to show what it was like and all its historic value and stuff.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about some of like the stuff that they had on the ship for people to do.
Yeah.
So the ship's insides and all were actually kind of based off the design of a London hotel. They have the famous grand staircase. They had swimming pools. They had a gym. They could play games and stuff on it. They had their own newspaper as well.
Ooh.
That printed every day, only for first class passengers. Almost all this stuff is only for first class passengers, though. They had chess and backgammon and all this nice stuff. But the most famous thing is the grand staircase, which you see in the movie. Yes. Yeah. You see, that's a lot of times in pictures. That's what you see. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, a lot of the stuff on the ship was like the first. Like this was the first time a ship had this and this and this.
There's this one, the electric bath. Is that safe?
I don't know. It doesn't sound very safe.
Like electric bath? That doesn't sound good.
One of the things that's crazy to me is how long it took to find it, the wreckage.
Yeah.
Because it sunk in it sunk in around 1911, 1912, and they didn't find it till 1985. Yeah, that's a long time.
That is, yeah. And well, you think about it, like how deep was the ocean? I mean, it was like right out in the middle of the Pacific, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
the Atlantic.
13 nautical miles from land.
Miles. And really where it sank either, because once it's in the water, it can move around really anywhere.
Yeah, and it took 800 tons of coal a day to power it every day. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Wow.
And there's lots of weird stuff, like lots of little facts and all that go in with the ship. The day that it happened, they were supposed to have a lifeboat drill, but the captain canceled it because he thought it would like ruin the mood and stuff.
Yeah, well, it ruined the mood.
Yeah, I mean, the wealthiest passenger was John Jacob Astor, and he was worth around $90 million at that time, and which is in today's standard, that's a little over $2 billion. And they know where the iceberg came from. It was about 100-foot chunk of ice, and it came from a glacier in Greenland, and it floated down. And in fact, there's some speculation, but they think they found it a long time ago, because a few years after this sinking, photographers took a picture of this iceberg that they saw with tons of red paint all over it. Yeah. And which we'll be putting that picture up right now, and it's got to be it, because what other iceberg would have red paint on it in the middle of the ocean?
Yeah. So I think that kind of concludes the Titanic here. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new today. Let us know what you guys think. We do have a Twitter and an Instagram. Twitter's going to be at the CVHS Scribe, and then the Instagram's going to be at CVHS Scribe. Thank you guys for listening in. It's been Zach.
It's been Grant.
And we'll see you guys here in the next one. Thank you.